The crew of the space shuttle Camelot has just brought back a little present from the moon.
Organic remains, human. He's 14,000 years old.
And now it is free again. To seek.
There's something in the corridor.
To hunt.
Something huge. Keep it together. Keep it together.
To kill. Out of the darkness.
The hell have we got here, Jason?
It called him.
A base. And we're being invited in.
To set it free. In outer space, on the outer limits, one man from our time, one woman from another.
That's what we are. Spare parts.
Together, they must face the ultimate challenge. Moontrap, the wait is over. Starring Star Trek's Walter Koenig and Evil Dead's Bruce Campbell.
Hello and welcome to the final episode of this season of It Could Have Been a Classic. And this week we're covering the 1989 film Moontrap, starring Bruce Campbell, Walter Koenig, the delectable Leo Lombardi. This film, for me, has it all. Right, let's just go into this first, right? There's a space shuttle in orbit over Earth. A Camelot, it's called. It's retrieving a satellite. And they're going up there to fix the satellite, Bruce Campbell and Walter Koenig, and they like pick something up on the radar. It's an abandoned spaceship, so they go out and investigate. They're freaking out. Everybody at NASA's really excited about it, and they find a body and they bring this egg back and they come back to Earth. And the guy who, the NASA representative who works for the government, thinks that they bring this stuff back and they've got this there's like a joke about government contractors. Well, there's this liaison to president. He don't believe me. He thinks they've set it all up. I mean, come on. And NASA have got it on a radar. I mean, he'd be freaking out as well. But let's not go into the plot holes, right? And he says they're trying to get more money. And they've come to the conclusion that the body and this metal is unknown. They can't get into it. 14,000 years old. And they have to go to the moon. And at first, they're not going to pay for it because this guy thinks they're making it all. It works for government. Now, right at the beginning of this film, which is interesting, is the last Apollo moon landing, or one of the Apollo missions, and you see a little robot head come out of the, that's where it starts. Quite like it for that. Little robot head comes out of the lunar dust looking around, and you think, oh, that's cute, right? No, you do, right? And then it's left at that, then film starts with a shuttle, and we know where we are because they've just told us, they come back to Earth as this government official say, you're not having any money. Meanwhile, downstairs in this lab, this egg opens up, they brought back, they can't get into, and little cute head pops out, and it starts, these tendrils come out of it, and merges with computer and starts strip mining everything, building itself a body. And guess what? Suddenly all the alarms go off, they go running downstairs, and security's down there. There's a big cyborg thing with human body parts as well from his old body, and they're staring at him. There's all these soldiers there at NASA, and this scientist says, no, we can't kill it. Let's go and, it's an alien life form. Let's try and speak to it. And this guy speaks to it, and it cuts him, and he says, kick its ass or whatever, or shoot it, kill it or whatever. So there's a big shootout with this big, massive cyborg humanoid thing, right, in the corridor, and it's firing out electricity, killing everybody, and they're shooting it. And Walter Koenig's this no action hero, Colonel Summer. He goes up through the ventilation shaft and climbs on pump action and blows its brains out. And then, like, they're waiting to get the go-ahead to go back to Moon. I was going to say Mars then. To go to Moon. So they get the last Apollo. There is one Apollo rocket that's ready to go. It's an old one. They do it up. And they go to the Moon on a search and destroy mission. There's 3 of them. And they go there. And they're in the moon buggy driving about. They find this like lost installation. There's a big light on it and it's massive. They go in, they find this woman. She's in suspended animation. They're just amazed that they never noticed this. And these robot things attack. And this time they've got machine guns and they start shooting them and all this. And Bruce Campbell, well, yes, he has a bit of a sticky end. And we move on to like they both get knocked out, him and this alien woman, right? She's human, and they're on board this alien ship because they needed lander to get it to Earth with computer, but they've got a nuke on the lunar module, obviously, or some destruct device, right? And they're both captured. They're tied up in this room, and one of these like cyborg zombie like merging things with parts. They're called the Kalium, and there's like a medical one that's going to start chopping them up and putting the parts into merging with new bodies. And they get out. Walter Koenig gets out and he saves the delectable Leah Lombardi, and they get dressed up. And he says, "Look, we've got to get to core because they've destroyed the module in orbit." And they're trapped on Moon, so they end up on this like ship they've been building for 14,000 years. And I don't know why did they, because like, right, I'm going to go into all this, because there's a big plot hole in this, which sort of bothered me when I watched this again. And they launch off towards Earth. They end up on Earth. The American government sends Intrepid up this shuttle on its arm with missiles. And they knocked the shuttle out of the way. They get to the lander. They sort of escape where they were in prison because they destroyed this medical one and he's shooting and all this machine gun. I mean, machine gun never runs out of bullets. It's like a space machine gun. And they sort of get to the center of the ship because there's no gravity, and they set up the destruction of the lander. But he uses his gun or something. I think they get attacked, and then when she's clinging to him, when he fires gun, they're like, it's like a rocket engine. They start flying out of the ship because there's a big hole inside the ship, and they go straight out into space. Every time he fires his gun, there's like this acceleration. Go outside, and then wow, alien ship, robot, cyborgs, blows up, and they get saved by American shuttle. And at the end, he's living with the moon chick, the delectable Leah Lombardi, on Earth, and that's it. And there's a nice little bit at the end that in a metal yard somewhere there's some noises going on and all this, and one of these things had got on Earth like an egg, right? What they found one in, and there's a phone call in the credits where he's going. Has any of that when the ship got destroyed, has any of it crashed on Earth? And they said no, it burnt up in orbit. Moontrap 2. We're going to go into Moontrap 2 shortly. Right, so this film, right, I discovered this on video in 1980. I was in the video library for a couple of weeks. I saw a poster for it. I looked at it, and I didn't really take much notice. Then one day, a month or so later, I looked around, and I saw the video. It was there in the VHS. And looked at it, said Bruce Campbell and Walter Koenig. And I thought, well, Walter Koenig, right? Mr. Bester and Mr. Chekhov. So, right, so basically in this film, right, you've got Mr. Bester and you've got Ash from Evil Dead, right? I mean, going into space and kicking ass. I mean, who's going to stand a chance against that, right? Really? You know what I mean? Now, so I got the film out, I took it home and I thought, my God, this is brilliant. This is just a brilliant movie. Now, look, there's plot holes in it and it is of its time, but they tried so hard with this, and they did an amazing job. The lighting of this film, even the background scenery, they put so much into this with such a small budget, and it's credible. It's quite a credible movie to a point. Even watching this 25 years later, 30 years later, I just love this film. You know, I did watch the sequel last night. Good God, tonight. Well, right. Well, it was like apparently there's a graphic novel of this out there somewhere, right? So I was reading on Wikipedia. I'll go into the Wikipedia thing about it. So this film, it has everything. It has cheesy special effects, which are a delight to watch, right? Because they really tried with the cyborgs, and it's wonderful. And the moon base, the alien installation, I think is quite impressive. Like the big giant entrance to it, and all the glyphs on the look of it. I think they've surpassed themselves on this film. You know, it's been a pleasure to watch this type of science fiction movie again. Yeah, you know, and I just it really took me back. Like today, it's all commercialized and wanting money. This were made with passion, and they went for it for what they could. I mean, you know, I think there was a very limited theatre release. A lot of people didn't like it when it come out. I don't think I would have gone to cinema to see that. I don't know. I sat through Invasion UFO and Space 1999 at cinema, so yeah, all right, I probably would. And I did go see Spider-Man from the TV series, and that was terrible. Spider-Man Strikes Back. All it was all right. I'm still a fan of that TV series. But anyway, I'm going off topic. So, like, Moontrap it's a delight, right? It is, right? So, I mean, the lighting, like I said, and everything like around this film is wonderful. The story's great. I mean, look what you've got in. You've got robot zombies, right, that want to take over. You've got the long-lost moon base from 14,000 years ago. Like, there could be, you know, an alien civilization who left somebody as a warning for the next whoever turned up there. You know, and you've got NASA, you've got macho bullshit in this, cheesy one-liners, and, you know, the effects are good. It's NASA goes to the moon, kicks ass. And look what you've got in this. Look what you've got. You've got Bruce Bloody Campbell, right? Who's just a delight in anything. And try out Bubba Hotep. You'll love that, right? I love that film, right? So you've got Astrum Walker, Evil Dead, right? And then you've got Mr. Chekhov, aka Mr. Bester. I mean, you know, going to the moon to kill aliens. So and then you get beginning on Earth. You've got the erotic dancer in the bar and the macho buddiness of it all, and you've got a bit of politics with government and all this, and the ancient mysteries and the storyline's brilliant. Now, can you imagine if this film has like a $60 million budget? Because the story for this film is it's an amazing story. And, you know, to do tribute to this, you'd have to spend about 60, 70 million, right? And you'd create this masterpiece of a film with this. You know, the story's this is what draws you in, the acting and the story. And the effects are not so bad. You know, I watched it last night, maybe because it's my age, I don't know. I didn't feel it was dated. I was so entranced into this film. I couldn't get enough of it. And you know, now, look, there is a plot hole because it never explains when they find the first ship that turns up. Maybe, you know, it's just left in orbit, so they never explain what happens to that unless it just floated off somewhere else. You know, it was a derelict apparently, so maybe it just drifted in from somewhere. But they said it had come from moon, so I thought they launched it. So I don't know why these Kellian robots need lunar lander if they got a ship off, you know, first time out came to Earth orbit. But anyway, these are plot holes and it's irrelevant, you know. Today, you see, the thing is with films like this years ago, you put it on and Saturday night you'd be in house and, you know, this would be in the film collection to watch, you know, and this would come on about, I'd say you put it on about 9 o'clock and you'd have a drink and think, you don't have to buy 10:30 when this is finished. You're going to have, what a bloody great film. You know, and I paid £1 for that to rent it out at night. You know, so, like, just love this movie. You know, and for me, it brings back good memories. I mean, it's got it all in this film. It's got all the positive traits you want in a... This could be such a decent science fiction movie. Now, I think it has got a bit of a cult following, but it is a bit of an obscure movie. Not a lot of people sort of came across this. I've met people that have watched it, you know, and they've enjoyed it. Everybody, for me, people I know have seen it, they've all enjoyed it. Now, the guy that I think now, what's his name? Let me go to Wiki now. This is why I'm going to go to Wikipedia for a sec. Moontrap is a 1989 science fiction film from Magic Films, written by Tex Ragsdale and directed by Robert Dyke. It was released on April 28th at World Fest Houston. A comic book adaptation featuring the film's production notes was released in the same year by Caliber Comics. I mean, this film is wonderful. So we've talked about the plot, which I think is excellent, right? I mean, story for this is great. This is reception. Moontrap received negative reviews from critics that holds a 29% rating on the review aggregator at Rotten Tomatoes. They're up their arse anyway, so I'm not having it with them. IMDb gives the movie 5 out of 10. DVD Talk had a higher opinion of the movie, stating that for a low-budget movie, the picture it often exceeds expectations in its review of December 27, 1989. Variety stated that Moontrap is a very entertaining, though highly derivative sci-fi adventure. This one's a goodie, and it is. Moontrap is exciting and suspenseful. Yes, and that's what I've got to say about this film. On home release, a Blu-ray DVD was released on the 25th anniversary of the movie in September 2014. The movie had only been released on VHS. Now, I had a VHS copy of this film. I picked it up at second-hand market years ago, but I've ordered it on Blu-ray. I just had to get this, I think, because of the extras as well. So it's absolutely brilliant movie. And you know where I'm going with this, don't you? Right, sequel. Right, Moontrap Target Earth. I actually watched that last night. And it's not bad. I mean, it's really, in a weird sort of way, it is a sequel, but it's not. It's like the cyborgs are in it, and a criminal, the Illuminati, and a spaceship, and mystery of another human race that existed on Earth, and then they tried to make it so intelligent at the end that she like had a destiny, and she went into deep sleep with this man who meant to be like from this civilization. They turned Moon into a planet Earth and gave it as a gift, but she goes into a deep sleep, obviously to be woken up 1,000 years in future or whatever. And that were it. So really a bollock to do with this. But it's from the same writer. Right, let me read this. On April 2017, Robert Dyke and Tex Ragsdale launched a fundraising campaign for Moontrap 2 graphic novel that would be adapted into a movie. The project was intended to act as a presentation device to show potential backers of the Hope project. However, due to lack of contribution, the project was cancelled of the same year. In early 2014, another project was announced by Robert Dyke and Tex Ragsdale. On February, a Facebook account was created for Moontrap Target Earth. The first post said, "Watch this space for news about Moontrap Target Earth." So obviously, as a fan of this movie, I was expecting an actual sequel to the 1989 one. When I watched this last night, I have to say, as a standalone film, I thought it was quite good. But it was a lot of cheesy, cheap computer animation. I still think the first Moontrap is amazing. So it says here, right? The legit right, it's not Moontrap Target Earth is not a direct sequel to the original feature, but instead a new standalone adventure. The plot is described as an archaeological dig uncovers a long buried spacecraft from an ancient advanced human civilization. A young woman studying the ship suddenly finds herself transported to the moon to unlock an ancient mystery. And well, it's all right. I mean, watch it. It's actually on YouTube to watch, as is Moontrap. But for me, the 1989 release is far superior. But I mean, you had Sarah Butler. She's in the sequel. She was in. She's done. I think she was on I Spit on Your Grave, the remakes. Charles Shaughnessy's like this British actor, but he's sort of big on soaps in America. He's got an amazing voice, though, so you've probably heard his voice, a lot of stuff. And, it's not bad. And that got financed. That was backed by Sony Home Entertainment, so it wasn't bad. It tried to be intelligent. I think they did. To be honest, I think they fucked it up. I mean, it's a standalone Target Earth, Moontrap. It's not a bad movie, but they're trying to get like into origins of human race and be a bit 2001-y. Not like the film, but to have that deep intellectual sort of meaning when there's like this ancient human. All he does is in stasis, that's it. And they have the Illuminati in it, and it was all right. I mean, I enjoyed it, but the first one just blows it out of the water. So that's like where I am with the sequel. So let me just go here. Right, I'm back again now. So Moontrap is an amazing. I mean, the music's not bad for it. It's got this nice creepy music when things are happening. I mean, they did try to like have some frightening horror shots. Now, one shot works at the beginning when Walter Koenig, Bester, he's got his outside alien spaceship and there's a dead body floating up behind him. You know, the usual where like you're there doing something and then it's floating at the back of you. So that were there. That and Bruce Campbell scene where he's like his face is stuck on a robot on one of Kelly cyborgs, popping up and which is quite funny. But you don't. I mean, it's not like a frightening sort of movie. I think they wanted to try and put that in, but to me, this is just an hardcore science fiction action movie on a cheap budget that's got class. This is like. Right, like I was talking to Tracker Prize and Couldve on the podcast this week, and Tracker Prize came out that there's certain films that are like a Rembrandt, like Forbidden Planet, the movie, and I agree with that. It's like it's a tapestry of science fiction. It's up there. It's the greats. It's the Forbidden Planet. I'm not saying this, right, but in my ratings somewhere you get a bottle of wine, right. And it's about 25-year-old and it tastes just nice. Do you know what I mean? And it's been in the cellar for a while. You blow the dust off and you have that glass of wine and it's very nice. This is what this film is. Because there is potential with this movie. Now, you're going to ask, right, how is it a classic? Well, let's go into the cast. You've got Bruce Campbell, Walter Koenig, and the story itself is very good. The effects, but the one thing about this film, it lingers in your memory, and on the rules of Could Have Been a Classic, it's got to linger, and Moontrap does. Now, like I said earlier on in this review, if somebody had put the money into this today, you'd have this big CGI thing, which could probably kill it off actually, because there's something. It's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the BBC series for me. Is far superior to anything they've made around it, like the Disney movie. Everybody refers to the BBC Hitchhiker's one, So, like, Moontrap. I mean, you could make a TV series out of it. There's a lot in this to make it. It could have been a classic. Now, I'm going to say, I'm going to give it the title. Moontrap, you are a classic. It could have been a classic. You could have been one of the greats. Do you know, I reckon if you'd have had the money, I mean, the writing's there, the story's there, the background, the actors, just many more millions. I reckon you might have even knocked out 2 sequels, about with the invading cyborgs and all the background history of Earth civilization from 14,000 years ago. And the governments and bringing the military and NASA and all this and all like getting the technology and this. I mean, honestly, this could have gone to a full invasion movie, with us v these androids and an ancient human civilization as well. That probably were in a war with these things. They might have even created them, but I'm not going down the BSG path, right? But Moontrap has it all. It's a classic. This film is awesome. The sequel, it's all right. It's not bad, but it's not this. This is what I grew up on. This is what I love. This is that type of sign. You've got the heroes, saves the lady, and they all get together and stop this invasion, you know, and there's like a shuttle that comes up armed with missiles ready to take out the mothership. And the story, and then you've got the Weasley government liaison. You've got him, you know. And it just filmed us so much so often. It could have gone in such a massive direction if we'd have got Moontrap. So, because I think this did quite well on VHS to rent when it come out. I remember posters, but I was a bit late on this. And then a couple of years later, right, somebody had done a page spread in SFX magazine on this. And, you know, this is the guilty pleasure of this film. Moontrap is awesome. I'm going to say it again. Moontrap, you could have been a classic. You're up there with Streets of Fire and other great movies. You could have been so much. 2 sequels at least with big budgets, you know. But I think you would today. I don't know. Obviously it'd be much darker today. I mean, you could turn this into like a horror movie, a sci-fi horror movie. It covers all this, covers that genre, all between sci-fi. And the horror in this, like with the bodies and all that, it works, but you're not jumping out of your seat, you know. And I think but you don't want to go there. You know, the good thing about this film, you're rooting for the heroes all the time. You know, they've gone there for a mission and they're going to get it done. And it's brilliant. And Walter Koenig's excellent in this. He works so well with Bruce Campbell. I was gutted when Brucey got cut up. Oh, there he is, look. That's the scene where they tried to, you know, but it don't quite work. Check this film out, guys. There's so much in this. So that's it could have been a classic of Moontrap. This is the final episode of season 2. Season 3 will be up in the next week or so. I actually have a list. I've been researching quite a bit for season 3. Trust me, I've had to really dig down. Places on the internet where B-rated movies and failed television series where they all languish in TV hell. And I've gone in there to take them out and just at least give them what they could have been, you know, that medal. It could have been a classic. Guys, I will be starting the live shows. There will be more towards Star Trek Discovery when they're coming out. I think that makes sense. And The Mandalorian, because I'm really getting hyped up for all that. So there will be a live show. I'm actually getting somebody else to do them with me as well. There's me and my partner on the podcast, and we're going to get some other people. So Michael Couldve will be joining us, and hopefully we can get a few people on and do a weekly show on The Mandalorian and Star Trek Discovery. So I will let you know more about that in the coming week. So guys, Moontrap 1989, it's a classic. Right, guys, I will see you soon. Remember, stay safe. Please be careful. And I'll see you on the next video. You know, looking for the stop button now. All right, guys, take care.